Good evening, everyone, and welcome into our first 2018 edition of the Milford Informer. I am your host, Tim Coet. Last week's extreme snowfall caused us to be unable to bring you a new Informer last Friday night, but we are very happy to officially get a new year of news coverage started this week. Let's begin, as we always do, by showing you tonight's top stories rundown. Tonight, we sit down with members of the Citizens for Milford as they discuss the need for community support to help honor Milford residents who made the ultimate sacrifice in service to our country. Also tonight, we'll share a few holiday leftovers as we look at Christmas festivities held at the Milford Youth Center and the Senior Center. And later in sports, we will show you how the Milford basketball teams fared in home and road matchups against Canton from earlier this week. We'll get to those fun holiday leftovers in just a bit. First, we have news from our friends over at Citizens for Milford. The CFM began a new tradition geared toward honoring servicemen and women this past fall with the first ever Massachusetts Medal of Liberty presentation held during Veterans Day. The CFM is in need of help from the community to keep this tradition of honoring Milford's heroes going. To get the details on the program, I sat down earlier this week with a pair of representatives from Citizens for Milford. And we are very happy to be joined on the Milford Informer this week by two representatives from the Citizens for Milford. We have Peter Scandoni and also Joanne DeMaria Morgan. Thank you folks so much for joining us.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
So we're here today. The topic at hand is the Massachusetts Medal of Liberty, and certainly folks at home who tuned into our Veterans Day coverage, they've already seen a little bit of the impact of this medal and just what it means. But I want to take it back to the beginning, Peter, and we can start with you. What exactly is the Massachusetts Medal of Liberty, and how did it first sort of get established here in the state?
Well, in 2010 it was established, and the ruling, or the actual chapter 3367A states, in the year 2000, the government of the state of Massachusetts passed a general law which states there shall be a Medal of Liberty awarded to the next of kin of service, men and women from Commonwealth that were killed in action or who died as a result of wounds received from that action. And the way this all started was that 2016 Veterans Day, Vinny Civizzari, who's a friend of mine, approached me following that ceremony with the Field of Flags and brought this to my attention and asked if Citizens for Milford would sponsor this and promote it and run with it. And I said, geez, this is great. I'm all in for it. That's somewhat how it came about. I think the process, Joanne could probably explain some of the process that we go through to get these names. She's now doing a lot of this, taking over for Vinny.
Tell us a little bit about that, Joanne.
Yes, and it's very interesting, and I've met a lot of very nice people through the process. How it starts is you look at the name and you say, gee, I wonder if they're related to so-and-so, you know, his sister's friend or whatever. So that's how it starts. So I could give you an example. One name, I got at the phone book and I called a person with that last name. And she said, oh, that's my friend's uncle. She said, so I'll give you her phone number. So then I reached her friend, who was the niece of the person, and she said, oh, he has a sister and nieces and nephews that live in Dedham. So then I went to call them, and I was able to get in touch with one of them, and she said, no, you'll have to speak to my brother. He lives in Florida. So then I called Florida and finally reached someone that was willing to sign the application. We have 6 more, that's where the 6 comes, 6 more that have already been approved, 24 that are pending, and then we had a list of unknowns. It was like we were coming to dead ends. I called Texas, a name of a person that lived in Milford, and they said, no, try my brother in Florida. Tried him. No, we're from Milton. And it just goes round and round and round. So we had a committee meeting, and we decided we're going to have to reach out to the public. We're going to have to ask people in the community, please help us locate these people.
I mean, this is an incredible process, and it really seems like it requires a lot of detective work on your end to try to track down these next of kin to try to get this honor out there. And it's so important to have these heroes that fought so valiantly for our freedom to have this little bit of recognition for the work that they did. So, I mean, that really speaks to just the dedication that CFM has to honoring veterans in our community.
And you know, the one story, I found this woman, and she said, I was 10 years old when my dad died. She said, I can remember just like it was yesterday. And she's in her 80s now, and she said, I am just so honored that you would think. So the families are very happy and very pleased.
This is the medal here that we do award to the families. And on the back, we have it transcribed with the
And
hero's
you
name.
could see that the medal is heart-shaped,
Yeah.
Right.
and that's symbolic of the Purple Heart with the gold border. It's 1 3/8 inches wide. The center of the medal bears the gold star. The top of the medal is the coat of arms of the Commonwealth. And the reverse of the medal depicts the branch of service of the member. And it consists of the words, and if Peter will turn it over, in honored memory. And we're having each of the medals engraved with the person's name on it and their service sacrifice. The ribbon is 1 3/8 inches wide and consists of the following stripes: 1/8 inch black, 1/8 inch purple, 1/8 inch black.
It's a beautiful medal, and so again, we've been scrolling across the screen the names of the servicemen that the CFM is hoping to track down. We'll give some more information in just a little bit on how you can contact the Citizens for Milford if you have any information on those servicemen. But I do want to talk about just quickly the ceremony that you had last fall. We've touched on it a little bit during the Veterans Day ceremonies throughout the day here in Milford. You had your first Medal of Liberty presentation. Talk a little bit about the community reaction to that ceremony.
The ceremony itself, I mean, it was one word is just magical, comes to mind. The day of the ceremony had to be the coldest day November ever had, if I remember right. But we were planning to have it at the Field of Flags at Draper Park with the flags blowing, and it was just a nice setting. But it was so cold, and the parade ends there, and the dignitaries were planning to be there. And I'm on the phone with Eric Rossetti, and I'm asking him, can you set up the Italian vets, because it's too cold here. We got some quite elderly people as well. And he's in the parade talking to me, then he's talking to people back at the Italian vets. They're setting it up. He sends me a picture. I says, great, that'll do. And we informed everybody we're meeting at the vets. And at the vets, the upstairs room was just packed. And as we went through this, there was tears in people's eyes. We awarded these. We had Senator Ryan Fatman. We had General McGurran there, Brigadier General McGurran. Representative Brian Murray was there. The Board of Selectmen was there.
And Joanne, you're hoping to have another Medal of Liberty ceremony a little bit later on in the spring. Talk a little bit about the particulars of that date.
We have that all booked. It's going to be on Sunday, May 20th at 2 p.m. at the Milford Town Hall. And we chose a larger venue because of the number of medals that are going to be awarded. Right now, 30 will be awarded. Plus, we've already had leads for 4 more people, so hopefully that will be 34, plus whatever the community helps us with. And I would like to say that it's very timely that if someone recognizes a relative, next to kin, a friend, whatever, that could put us in touch with someone, to do it as soon as possible rather than wait. Because once we get the name, the family has to sign the application, then it has to be verified at Hanscom Air Base, then it's sent to the governor's office. So it's not something that just happens overnight.
Sure.
It takes time. And we would like to include as many as we can at this May 20th event.
Peter, Joanne, talk a little bit about how folks can get in touch with you guys if they do have information to present.
Yeah, on the form that you're showing on the screen actually lists each of the members at the bottom. So you'd see Vinny Civizzari, you've got his email, his telephone, Joanne's email and telephone, Mayan, and also Jerry Eden's email and telephone. So we're the subcommittee, Medal of Liberty subcommittee, and you can also go to Citizens for Milford, who's actually sponsoring this event. And on our Facebook page or on our website, there'll be all this information as well.
And each of the members on the subcommittee, the Medal of Liberty committee, we're just so eager to make these contacts. So if you call me today, I'll be on the phone today trying to get that person and following it up with the application.
Outstanding. So all of that contact information has been on your screen. A lot of ways to get in touch with the CFM, and of course, if nothing else, you can go to citizensformilford.com. You can also search for Citizens for Milford on Facebook. There's a lot of great information there as well. So please, if you have any information, we really encourage you to get in touch with the folks at Citizens for Milford so that we can hopefully get leads on all of these servicemen in time for that ceremony, which will be held on May the 20th at Upper Town Hall. And it should be an outstanding ceremony. It was so moving to see what happened back during Veterans Day. So we look forward to covering that event as well.
And we hope to make this May 20th ceremony the biggest that the state of Massachusetts has ever seen.
Well, it's outstanding, and we can't thank you enough for your dedication in this process. Again, a lot of work has gone into it already. A lot of work still to be done, but certainly a lot of credit has to go to the Citizens for Milford, for you two in particular, for all the work that you've done with this. So again, we hope that everyone out there can see this information and get any information that you may have to the Citizens for Milford as quickly as you possibly can. So again, Peter Scandoni, Joanne DiMaria Morgan, we thank you guys so much for your time, and we wish you a lot of luck in this process.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate your help.
Though we are a couple of weeks removed from the holidays, we still want to shed some spotlight on a pair of holiday-themed events that took place here in the Milford community. Let's take a look at how both the Milford Youth Center and the Ruth Ann Bleakney Senior Center got into the holiday spirit.
So what's your name?
Anastasia,
How old are you?
9.
And what do you like most about the youth center?
Just coming here in the jam playing.
And what do you like most about the party?
That we're getting presents.
Getting presents? That's nice. So what's your name? And how old are you? 11. And what do you like most about the youth center?
It's kind of like free. You can like do whatever.
And what do you like most about the party?
The food.
The food? Food's awesome. What's your name? Guy. Hi, Guy. How old are you? 12. Okay, what do you like most about the youth center? Playing basketball.
First of all, thank you everyone for coming. Before we do the gifts for the kids, we need to make sure we thank everyone that made today possible, okay? So the fact that we can get gifts to everybody here. Thank you. We have to have a big thank you to the United Way of Tri-County.
So as you can see, everybody's had a great time. And we'll see you guys next time on Milford TV.
Well, today is our annual holiday party. It's sponsored by Milford Regional Medical Center. So every year we celebrate the holidays. We do a Yankee swap and we make homemade macaroni and meatballs. Today we're serving 150 of our seniors. They just got through eating. I think they enjoyed it very much. And pretty soon we're going to start our Yankee swap. So that ought to be fun.
Now, for those members in the community that aren't familiar with all these amazing events held here at the Senior Center, how could they find out about them?
They can call, get on our newsletter list, they can go online. The town's website will bring them to our website, and our website is milfordmaseniorcenter.com. I welcome everyone, but before you go, I really need to shout out to my crew. This is a very big endeavor, and I have the best staff here helping me. Dolores DeVita, Sue Cadron, Nancy Potter. I have so many. I have John O'Loughlin helping today, and I have Karen Grady helping today. So I thank all of them for helping me out. This was a big job, but with them, we got it done.
Well, happy holidays, Sue.
Happy holidays to all of you, and a very happy new year. Thank you.
The winter sports season is picking up speed now that the holidays are behind us. The boys and girls basketball teams played a total of 3 games combined during the weeks surrounding the holiday season. After the Milford teams earned a doubleheader sweep over their Stoughton counterparts last Sunday, the teams were back in action this time at separate venues this past Tuesday. For the girls, they looked to keep the momentum of a 4-game winning streak rolling as they welcomed in the surprising second-place Canton Lady Bulldogs. Let's take a look at the highlights. The matchup between the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks and the Canton Lady Bulldogs featured 2 of the premier scorers in the league this season. On the Milford side, Kate Irwin looked to continue to inch closer to 1,000 career points, while on the Canton side, senior Hannah Jerrier was looking to build on a monstrous 30-point performance in her team's most recent victory. As it turned out, neither player would be much of a factor through the game's opening 8 minutes. On the Canton side, it was the 6'3" senior Erin Devine who would get an easy look in the low post to grab the first points for the Bulldogs. On the other end of the floor, some good passing for the Lady Hawks would free up senior captain Emily Pierre-Gustavo from 3-point range, and she'd knock down the shot to put Milford in front. Midway through the quarter, Jerrier would collect her only 2 points of the period off a feed from Devine to open up a 3-point Canton advantage. But Milford's zone defense would really clamp down over the remainder of the first quarter, allowing the Lady Hawks to score 6 unanswered points to take an 11-8 lead. The Lady Hawks defense would stay strong into the second quarter. Here, Irwin is able to intercept the pass and takes the ball full speed up the court. She converts the layup but would take hard contact on the right wrist by Canton's Ajale Acevedo. Kate would eventually shake off the pain as she finished off the 3-point play. With Canton down by 6 and the duo of Devine and Jerrier being held in check, it was the play of 5'3" point guard Julia Hamilton that would spark a Bulldogs rally, courtesy of this long 2-point shot. A fast break bucket for Acevedo and the second chance points from Maggie Connolly over the span of 60 seconds would erase the Milford lead and tie the game at 14. After Emily Pierre-Gustavo gave her team the lead back with a layup, here she forces the turnover in the corner and then dishes the long outlet pass ahead to Kate Irwin, who battles through a double team under the basket and gets her shot to fall. As Canton looked to fight back, it was Julia Hamilton to the rescue again as she buries the 3 from long range to put Canton up by 1. The game would continue to be a physical defensive battle over the final minutes of the half. Kate Irwin would close out the scoring in the half here as she peels away from the defense. Irwin would be responsible for 7 of Milford's 9 second quarter points, helping Milford to a 20-19 halftime lead. Watch this sequence from Emily Pierre-Gustavo as the second half got underway. First, she creates the deflection that leads to a turnover for Milford. As the Lady Hawks take the ball up the floor, the ball ends up back in Emily's hands, where she shows great court vision, hitting Jess Tommaso with a perfect pass, leading to a Milford bucket. Moments later, good Canton ball movement would result in a good look for Julia Hamilton from outside, and she'd drain her second three-pointer of the game, knotting the game up at 24-all. Then, after an unusually quiet first half, Hannah Jerrier would connect on just her second shot from the field, tipping the lead back into Canton's favor. But that lead would not last for long, as Milford's offensive star was about to take center stage.
Gustavo almost comes away with a steal, but it ends up in the hands of Irwin going the other way. She flies to the basket and gets two. Irwin trying to drive baseline this time, instead the step back jumper for two. Pierre Gustavo cutting to the basket. Now Irwin all the way up top, a long two, and she nails it. Excellent ball movement that time by the Lady Scarlet Hawks. No side has been able to really pull away so far as Irwin reads the pass and intercepts it going the other way. Jump stop, blows right by, and an excellent move by Kate Irwin leads to two. Just great basketball IQ, knew there was a player right on her back, jump stop, and now another turnover for Canton.
Irwin would score 10 of Milford's 13 points in the third quarter, but despite the strong effort from the senior, the game would remain close heading into the final 8 minutes. Canton would land the opening blow of the fourth quarter. Off the Hamilton miss, Jerrier would grab the rebound and the points to push the senior into double digits in both categories, ensuring her a 6th double-double on the season. Erin Devine would soon follow up with a bucket to once again make it a one-possession game. A free throw would cut it all the way to a 2-point margin before Milford would receive a sorely needed bucket from Jess Tommaso to give Milford some breathing room. It would stay a very close game down to the final 3 minutes until this shot from Kate Lobiser would rattle its way home. That would touch off a momentum swing that would carry the Lady Hawks to the final buzzer. Milford would close out the night on an 8-2 run to seal the victory. The Lady Hawks claim their 5th straight win and move into 2nd place in the Davenport standings as they take down Canton by a final score of 49-38. With the girls on a hot streak, the boys team hoped to gain some momentum of their own as they took on their Bulldog counterparts over in Canton. Could the boys earn a 2nd straight Davenport win? Let's go back to the highlights. Milford hoped to build off of Sunday's 68-53 home victory over Stoughton as they traveled to Canton on Tuesday to take on the 5-1 Bulldogs. The Hawks were playing their 2nd straight game without the services of senior captain Shane Cosquet, who injured his wrist in Milford's holiday break loss to Bishop Stang. Cosquet's absence was immediately felt as Milford's out-of-sync offense would put up just 5 first-quarter points, dropping them into an early 14-point hole. Milford's offense would improve slightly in the second quarter, but Canton would maintain a big lead, taking a 30-17 advantage into the break. As the game continued into the third quarter, Milford could not find a way to contain the Bulldogs' outside shooting. Canton would net 14 three-pointers in the game, with seniors Tony Harris and Austin Maffey leading the effort with a combined 35 points. Milford would start to close the gap in the fourth quarter, but it would be too little too late for the Hawks. Milford drops the division matchup to the Canton Bulldogs by a final score of 61-51. We have a very full slate of games coming up for you next week. We'll have back-to-back days of girls basketball coverage on Monday and Tuesday as the Lady Hawks continue a lengthy homestand with matchups against Hopedale and North Attleboro. Then on Friday, we'll get another look at the boys team as they play host to Kelly Rec's rival Attleboro. All 3 of those games will be streamed live over on milfordtv.net and through the live stream app. And now let's take a look at this week's upcoming events. Coming up this weekend, join Massachusetts Voters for Legislative Reform as they hold a meeting right here in Milford. The Voters for Legislative Reform are a nonpartisan group looking to discuss ways of reducing power held by legislative leadership. This is the group's 2nd meeting, and they look forward to continuing their conversation from a vantage point of those within the legislature. The meeting will be held this Saturday, January 13th, inside the Milford Town Library from 2 to 3 p.m. For more information, you can call Maxwell Morangiello at 508-318-8629. And coming up on January 28th, Milford High School will be hosting the film premiere of The Italian-American Baseball Family. Filmmaker Roberto Angotti captures the story of how Italian Americans assimilated into pop culture through America's favorite pastime. The film features the Colabello family from Milford and shows how they are a perfect example of the modern-day Italian-American baseball family. The premiere of the film will take place on Saturday, January 27th at the Milford High School Auditorium beginning at 4 p.m. For more information or to register for complimentary tickets, go to eventbrite.com and search Italian American Baseball Family. That's all we have for you on this week's show. Next time, we'll take a behind-the-scenes look at an upcoming Impact production. We'll also have plenty of basketball highlights to share with you as well. Make sure you check in with us again next Friday night. Until then, from all of us here at Milford TV, this is Tim Coed saying have a great week. So long, everybody.